Hey there Internet, and welcome to another wrap-up video. Seeing as we are now halfway through February, I figured it was probably about time I got around to sharing with you the many books that I read in January 2016. I read 4 books last month that were not ARCs that are definitely, absolutely, positively already on bookstore and library shelves. I know this because that's where I got them. The first of which was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was an incredible heist fantasy novel. It takes place in the Grisha-verse, which her first trilogy took place in, but it's none of the same characters. It's a totally different situation. This band of criminals, the Six of Crows, all come together and they need to pull off a pretty epic robbery. Lots of twists and turns. If you like adventure with a dash of magic, this one's definitely for you. Next up was The Cuckoos Calling by Robert Galbraith. It might say man's name on the cover, but to the rest of the world we know this person much better as J.K. Rowling. This is the first book in her adult mystery series following a London PI, and he's been tasked with investigating what looks to be like the suicide of a famous supermodel. I really enjoyed this one, a good curl-up, cozy, cold mystery, and I'm really looking forward to continuing with this series. Next was I Will Save You by Matt de la Pena, and it's the story about a kid named Kid who's been having a really tragic sort of home life, dealing with a lot of challenges. He's finally getting back on the right track, except then someone shows up from his past, making him second guess if he really is doing the right thing and if he really is capable of being the person that everyone tells him he's capable of being. And the final book that I read this month was The Interpreter of Maladies by Youll. This was her Pulitzer Prize award-winning collection of short stories. So I was able to grasp onto some more than others, which is pretty typical of me with short story collections. I cannot wait to read full-length works by Ms. Lahiri. And that brings us now to the ARC portion of this video. I was so lucky to have a variety of ARCs available to me in January. Thank you to the publishers sending them to me either virtually or in the mail. First up was The Imposter Queen by Sarah Fine. This is a fantasy novel. If you like this young adult genre, this one is totally going to be for you. The pacing was a little fast and slow at times, but I was really encaptured in the characters and the story. If you're at a library where fantasy is really popular with your readers, go ahead and get this. I'm sure they're not going to be disappointed. Next was The Killing Jar by Jennifer Bosworth. Now, Jennifer Bosworth is an author I was lucky enough to meet a couple years ago and holds a special place in my heart because she is one of those authors where I read her books even though they're usually very far outside my comfort zone. For example, this one is a sort of paranormal horror about a girl and other people who are able to suck the life force out of people, and it's like a drug to them. I liked that it balanced this paranormal stuff with just general contemporary problems. Totally wasn't what I was expecting, but I think that's why I liked it so much. And this one is in stores for sure now. The Heir and the Spare by Emily Albright is a bit of Princess Diaries meets The Prince and Me meets Will and Kate meets Mean Girls, all rolled up into one. This is about an American girl who goes to Oxford and doesn't realize that the cute boy that's flirting with her is actually one of the princes of England. My biggest problem with this book was that while the character was supposed to be 20, a lot of the dialogue and the things she would say and the things she would do, I felt were much more probable for a 14-year-old. The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Hillig takes people all over the world and all through time. This is the story about a girl named Nyx, where she and her father travel through time thanks to the maps that they collect. Now he is determined to get back to 1886 Hawaii to try to stop his wife from dying, Nyx's mother. The only problem is that her mother died during childbirth, so Nyx is afraid of what are the repercussions of trying to change the past. This one was lush and rich in terms of the writing style, and I'm looking forward to the second book and seeing what else it could bring. The Mad Woman Upstairs by Catherine Lowell is the ultimate book for English majors. This story follows the last living descendant of the Bronte family, and she is going to Oxford. She is constantly being inundated by the press who want to know, now that her father has died, what is left of the rumored Bronte estate. This one is full of discussion and literary dissection, and I would say I probably would have gotten a lot more out of this had I still been in school studying British literature, but there were things I picked up on and it put me right back in the classroom. A solid choice for people who are English majors, want to be English majors, or are Bronte enthusiasts. Eligible by Curtis Sittenfeld is a modern-day retelling of Pride and Prejudice in which the Bennets are no longer in England, but rather Ohio. It's been getting rave reviews. Personally, the storyline that I thought was the most interesting was the Lydia one this time around. I don't know, this one seems to be really popular with everyone but me, but I'm glad that I gave it a shot. These Vicious Masks by Tanu Shankar and Kelly Zekas was described by the publisher as X-Men meets Jane Austen. It is a historical paranormal romance in which a girl and her sister both have the power to heal, except when her sister appears to be kidnapped, no one takes her seriously. They don't know the full extent of their powers. There's a bit of a love triangle. It had potential, it just didn't hit the mark for me. And finally, Where You'll Find Me by Natasha Friend. This was actually a middle grade novel about a girl who her mother has bipolar, has recently tried to commit suicide, was unsuccessful, so now she's living with her divorced father and his new wife, and she's trying to make sense of the fact that everything in middle school is already hard enough, and now everything at home doesn't make sense anymore either. It was emotional, it doesn't shy away, but I think that's exactly why kids are gonna like it. So those are the many, many books I read in January 2016. If you'd like to hear more, if you'd like to keep the discussion going, please tell me down in comments. All my usual links are down below. Comments are always welcome, and that's it for me for now. Take care. Bye! I'm currently reading The Time Traveler's Wife, A Tyranny of Petticoats, and The Age of Miracles. And if you will like what you've seen here today, please like and please subscribe for more.